Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro RPG. The end of another week and the end of another poll. We've got a very strong winner with Pirates and Privateers for the Star Wars role-playing game. Now, I'll have a look at that on the desktop in a wee second. And as usual, I'll be back at the end of the video with some other channel-related stuff and some other information about the poll. But just a wee reminder, if you'd like to see these videos a week early, or you'd like to help the channel out, there's a Patreon in the description down below. So if you click on that, you can see how you can help us out. It'd be very much appreciated. But anyway, let's have a look at Pirates and Privateers. So, this is Pirates and Privateers for the Star Wars role-playing game. More specifically, it's for the 2nd edition, or the 2nd edition revised and expanded, as was current at the time when it came out. It came out from West End Games in 1997, to be exact. And it covers Pirates and Privateers. It's got the lifestyles, how they operate, tactics, how to run campaigns, some sample NPCs, all that kind of stuff. And to me, it's one of the most essential books. As a player, I absolutely loved it, because it's got some great rules in here. And I wanted to be a space pirate. Because while I've come to appreciate Luke Skywalker as the hero of the movies, you know, he's a Jedi Knight, he's principled, he's great. When I first watched Star Wars, Han Solo was the coolest. He was wisecracking, he was good with a gun, he was an excellent pilot, he got the girl. What wasn't there to love about him? So, when I started playing the role-playing game, I wanted to be a space pirate. And okay, I was an alien one, I was a Quarren pilot, but I was being Han Solo. And as a games master, there's so many useful rules in here as well, because what pirates do about trying not to be tracked are exactly what rebels do. So there's some very useful rules in here. But let's have a look at the back cover. Privates and Privateers. Starlines flared past the viewport as the Imperial freighter flashed through the depths of hyperspace. Suddenly a loud metallic crash echoed throughout the hull as the ship skidded into real space. Despite the clamour of alarms and damage report klaxons, the Imperial captain could not fail to hear the menacing voice issuing from the comm system. "Attention, Imperial freighter. This is the independent vessel Freelance. Power down your engines and weapons or be destroyed. This is your final warning." Pirates, the Imperial thought, an involuntary shudder passing through his body. Keying the ship-wide comm, he gritted his teeth and issued his final order. "All hands, prepare to repel boarders. Command a ragged band of pirates. Lead a daring and disciplined crew of commerce raiders against the force of the Empire, or launch devastating attacks against New Republic shipping as an Imperial privateer." Pirates and Privateers gives players and game masters all the information needed to run a privateer campaign, featuring scores of new character templates, equipment, ship modification guidelines, game master characters, and a detailed index to pirate organizations, ships, and shadow ports. Explore the lawless fringe of the Star Wars universe, where only the bold survive. And that kind of details what it does. We flip open, we can see it's got standard West End Games publication standards at that time. Great graphics, great layout, very clear. For some reason this logo looks a bit blurred here. I think perhaps they've zoomed it up. Everything else is so crisp and clear, but this has a slightly blurry feel to it. And we're straight on to Pirates and Privateers. The difference between pirates and privateers. Well, to detail it quickly, pirates are people who raid things for their own profit. Privateers are people who raid things for their own profit with government permission. So the Rebel Alliance will allow privateers to raid the Empire under license from them, but will try and ensure that they don't harm anybody else. There's certain standards they need to keep up to be a privateer, and that allows them to not just use pirate ports and hide out, but it allows them to use rebel ports. And conversely, when the New Republic takes over, the Empire starts using pirates and privateers as well, and you can use Imperial docks while you're raiding New Republic shipping. So we go through privateers, detailing, and privateers supply their own ships, thereby freeing Alliance vehicles to conduct conventional military operations. They seize enemy vessels and supplies, augmenting the Alliance's fleet and its ability to support that fleet. They capture Imperial cargo, again bolstering Alliance stockpiles. They divide Imperial forces, as Imperial units are devoted to combating piracy instead of combating the rebellion. And they drive corporations away from the Empire by eating into corporate profits. So they're useful tactically. The letters of marque and reprisal. So the rules which they have to operate under are the letter of marque from the New Republic. Or from the rebellion, actually. We're on to an example. So we've got the freelance here and a short snippet of story. The standards. So if you're working for the Rebel Alliance, they assign an observer to make sure that you're not violating the terms, the rules. Then we're into the section on raiding, which is very useful indeed, because it goes through all the aspects of it. Because raiding or pirating ships isn't just a matter of floating around in space until you see somebody and attacking. It goes through all of the parts of it. So finding a prize. How are you going to locate a ship in the depths of space? Well, it might be you're monitoring public shipping schedules, because Space DHL or FedEx or whatever might be shipping things between Coruscant and Corellia every day at 12 o'clock. So it would have a standard schedule you could pick up on and perhaps raid. There's port contacts. So you might be speaking to the docking port officials who will tell you when a ship's about to leave and what's on it. Inside information. So you might have bribed somebody on the crew of a ship. There's friendly intelligence. So if you're working for the rebellion might have got access to Imperial shipping and tell you when it'll be the best time to raid. Information merchants. You might bribe or pay people who have got this information from other sources. And then we've got electronic data raids. So you might break into an Imperial facility to download shipping forecasts or shipping schedules for the entire sector for you to raid, and it'll be extra information for you to sell. Then we go through common pirate tactics. Barricades, the dagger, lurking the zone, dirt side raids. We've got actions and boarding. So when you actually get to a ship, you've attacked it and disabled it. Are you going to put your hull against it and run through a docking port? Are you going to use shuttles? You're going to go out in spacesuits. You're going to cut a hole into the vessel so their cargo floats free and you pick it up. Goes through pirate atrocities, fact and fiction. It's got more detailed rules, optional ones, for targeting particular sections of ships. So you can just shoot at the cargo bay to release the cargo into space. Zazin's dozen rules, so they're rules. Now stick to the job. There are no sure things. The prize's crew is not the enemy. Maintain initiative. Keep your crew well, to keep them loyal. And it goes through the raider's life. So detailing what the life of a pirate is like. Talking through thugs who are just people for hire, desperate people, professionals, thrill seekers. What the officers are like, the ship's crew, boarding parties, the daily grind, so what you get up to on a daily basis. And then we've got the rewards of piracy, prizes, booty, how it's shared out, the freedom available to them, pirate jewels, pirate's honour, list of terms and jargon used by pirates, spaced, killed by being exposed to space without survival gear, share out, dividing up the profits of a raid, a cruise, going raiding for an extended period. Cousin, privateer term for their shipboard alliance observer. Then we've got plunder and equipment, a very handy part of it. So, standard talking about hard currency and money, what plunder there can be with strategic metals, valuables you can raid from a cargo ship and what they're worth by their weight. Gemstones, bounties, because if you're working for the Rebel Alliance, capturing Imperial officers and that, who can be interrogated, is very useful to them. Then we've got standard Imperial gear. So we've got stealth gear, sensor baffling, sensor masks, decoys, comm jammers and sensor jammers, which of course are all fantastically useful to a Rebel crew as well. Modifying your ship so you can jam the communications of a TIE fighter pursuing you so he can't call for help. Very, very useful. Now, baffled drives to make your ship harder to detect. Backup batteries. Cloaking devices. This section on transponder codes I have based so many adventures on, because it's detailing if you are scanned by the Empire and they identify your ship, Basically, you need a way of changing the license plates, the transponder codes. And this goes through the technical details. And I've based adventures on this, where players have messed up an adventure and their ship's been spotted. So their next adventure has to be to get new transponder codes so they can keep using that ship. Or they need to ditch that ship somewhere and get a new one. Got weapons here, so vibro weapons, including the vibro rapier there. Stun weapons, a rather interesting stunning blaster, a deck sweeper. So one shot will spread out across a deck and stun multiple targets. Stun gauntlets, armoured spacesuits, thermite gel, and various other explosives and blasters. And we've got shipboard weapons, ion cannons, Connor webs for closing down ship systems, concussion missile launchers. And we've got general equipment, so medkits, ship suits, anti-security tools, so fusion cutters, cut through locks, battering rams, plasma punches, different ways of breaking in, lock breaking kits themselves. And we've got a bunch of vehicles, so swoops, so basically souped up speeder bikes. A range of different ones there, including the Flare S, which showed up in Shadows of the Empire. Then we're onto ships, and we've got different starfighters. So we've got war pods here, different cheap fighters, the C-73 Tracker. We've got uglies, so the White Eye Ugly, which have become so popular across the Tai Y Ugly. And we've got capital ships, so Corellian corvettes and Nebulan Bs. We've got a massive range of prizes. This is a huge list. We've got the shadows showing what the ships look like. And then many pages of different stats for tons and tons of different ships. Small freighters like the Millennium Falcon, very useful for acting as targets. But again, very useful for players, as not everybody wants to just have a YT-1300 and be flying the Millennium Falcon. They want their own ship. Maybe they'll be flying a Stalwart class light freighter, which is slightly smaller, but has plenty of space, 2 crew, 5 passengers, 120 tons, so slightly more than a YT-1300. We've got C2 transports, which are much more massive, 100 meters long. Rin Acid bulk haulers, Action 6 bulk haulers, asteroid mining ships, star yachts, luxury cruiser 200, the Avman Extravagance 11S. Then we've got a chapter on the opposition, so bounty hunters, system patrol ships and their crews, people who'll be trying to keep a particular star system. It's one thing going after cargo transport between Coruscant and Corellia, but if you attack it in the Corellia system as well itself, ships will be able to come out from the planets to help it. But territorial police to protect entire sectors. Things like the Iotran Police Force, the Triani Rangers, and their standard ship. Marauder Corvettes, Etty Lighters, big capital ships which will hunt people down, the Sector Rangers. Got the Imperial Customs Force, the Imperial Navy itself with patrols and how they do escorts. Detailing what the Navy uses, so blast boats and Nebulan Bs and different boarding shuttles which they will use against you. Then we've got a rather wonderful section on pirates. So we've got description of them with some stats, and then stats for their ship. But also these info sheets, going over what the character's like, detailing them for something which the players might know. Their bounty sheet or that kind of thing. We've also got short stories spread throughout. So we've got a given here. An Aqualish pirate. A Nikto. Goes over common raider signs, because obviously on Earth we use the skull and crossbones to signify a pirate ship. But that wouldn't really work in Star Wars, so we've got the Blazing Claw, which is the standard one for space pirates. The Nova Hawk, which is a version of the Rebel Alliance symbol, but used by privateers. The Etramin Bassive Pirates, the Voidwings and Voidfangs, each with their own symbols. Carrying on with the NPCs, we've got a Snivian Pirate and a Tishar Pirate. Go through some other organisations, the Riders of the Maelstrom, the Nanthri Pirates, Darcy's Buccaneers, and then we're heading on to ports of call, so various pirate bases, different places where the law is very lax, where you can land, you can sell off stolen cargo, you can buy illegal weapons, and have a good time with your illegally gained booty. The Starforge Shipyard. Firmwed. Go through the facilities, give you information about it. We've got some very cut down versions, Bren Station, Darkman Station, Demisel Fire, various free ports, the Spaces section of Selenon City, Vigresso Base. And then finally we've got a section about campaigns. Now the Rebel and New Republic privateers attacking Imperial shipping. And then we've got the converse of that, or the inverse of that rather, the Imperial privateers. Got a list of alliance targets, different companies they will attack, KDY, Incom, the Imperial Meats and Produce Company. Got territorial privateers, corporate raiders, people who go after particular corporations, or corporations which go after each other in the name of piracy to just ruin the competition. We've got various templates here, because apart from just making up a character as normal, you can use a template to get a fast start to a character. So we've got Privateer Captain, Veteran Spacers, Alliance Observers, Borders, and finally we've got the appendices, which are guides to other Star Wars role-playing game books which are useful. So the Desmaric Pirates are in the Darkstrider campaign box set, adventure book pages 19 to 21. Morla Mallet is Flashpoint Brack Center 37 to 38. Got various shadow ports including Cloud City and Galaxy Guide Yavin and Bespin 56 to 94. Different patrol ships, prize ships, and that is it. A rather wonderful book. As I said, one of my favourites, absolutely essential to me when I was a player, because I was playing a pirate, and all the equipment and ideas came out of this. And then as a games master, I've used it so many times, because so much of what pirates are doing is what rebels are doing. So it fits into Star Wars campaigns wonderfully. So that was Pirates and Privateers for the Star Wars role-playing game, and not Privates and Privateers as I called it in the poll. I'd have been more amused if I'd totally mixed it up and called it Privates and Pirateers. But I didn't, I just slipped it up and repeated Privates twice. Anyway, that won the poll with an absolutely massive 38% of the vote. Almost double the second place, which was Infantry Weapons of the World for Twilight 2000 on 20%. That was only slightly ahead of Denizens of Earthdawn Volume 1 and Hacklopedia of Beasts Volume 2 on 16%, which again were a jump ahead of the Dark Tech Sourcebook on 9%. Now that's for Dark Conspiracy, a Games Designers Workshop book, and I'd have loved to have covered that, and it's sad to see it coming in so far behind, as I do think they created absolutely wonderful games and books. But anyway, that's them wiped out. We've covered Pirates and Privateers, and we're on to a new poll. Now in this one, I'm wiping out, or I'm choosing games which have lost polls in the past, because these are games I actually really want to cover, but they've just never had enough votes to win. So now, by putting them up against each other, one of them has to win and I get a chance to cover them. So, first we've got the Alternity Game Master Guide for the Alternity role-playing game. Now, I got the introductory box while I've been doing this channel and absolutely loved the game, thought it was great. And I picked up the Player's Handbook and Games Master's Guide at the same time. Now, I've covered the Player's Handbook in the past. It'd be lovely to cover the Games Master's Guide and complete the set. Also, second place, we've got Spycraft. Now, this is the core rules under D20 for modern spy games and military games. Now, this is used by the Stargate role-playing game, which I've covered on the channel. So it'd be nice to cover the actual rules which Stargate's based on, which is Spycraft. Again, it's not succeeded in polls. We shall see how it does. Next up, we've got Immortal: The Invisible War from Precedence Entertainment in 1993. Now, this is a game I don't know much about. It's been a donation to me. Somebody was moving house and gave me the book, and I'd love to have a look through it. I remember seeing it on game shelves way back in the 90s and thinking it looked really interesting. so I'd love to cover it. Next up, we've got Bangkok Cesspool of the Orient for Twilight 2000. Now this is a guidebook to the Orient, the Far East. Now with Twilight 2000 mainly be set in Europe and America, this is the only sourcebook which really covers in detail another part of the world. But it's just never succeeded in a poll. We've covered arms, equipment, vehicles, we've just never wanted to cover another part of the world. So we shall see how it does in this poll. And finally, there's Cold Hands, Dark Hearts for Big Eyes, Small Mouth. When I started the polls off some 1.5 to 2 years ago, Cold Hands, Dark Hearts was always the joke entry. It was the 5th one and it got the lowest votes every week. So let's give it one last chance for glory. Shall it succeed in this poll? My guess is not. On other channel related stuff, well, a video which has gone out at least a week ago, when this video comes out, explains what's going on in my personal life. I recorded that video yesterday. So I'm still getting my life in order. Obviously there's a lot of things to arrange. I've got a lot of family in the area at the moment, travelling from across the country. But in the next few weeks, things should restore to order, and let's get motoring with everything on the channel. Let's get the Discord going, let's get some games going. I will have time again, and I really want to do these things. But for the moment, apologies, but by the time this video comes out, things should be a bit more normal. Apart from that, I've nothing really to say. So thank you very, very much for watching as always. But most of all, you look after yourselves and your loved ones. And I'll catch you later. Bye now.